What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Long time no see, long time no talk. I'm super excited about this episode right here because this man was my first live interview on SiriusXM, live on air. Miami resident, Miami staple, friend of mine for a long time now. Our families are close, and super excited to have him on here to talk about how he uses his platform, but more importantly, how fighting has saved his life. So I'm super excited to have my brother, Yuli Monster Diaz.
Boo.
What's up, brother?
What's
How
up,
you
brother?
doing, man?
Man, I'm doing amazing. Amazing to be on here with you again, brother. And congratulations on this beautiful setup you have here.
Thank you, dude. I'm
Absolutely.
trying here. This is right now. It's something small. I'm doing a once a month episode that I'm throwing on YouTube. Originally, the first 19 episodes I did in 2020 when I launched Post Traumatic Survival, but they were all audio. And then I never had the capabilities of doing this, and now I do. So I'm blessed. I'm able to do it, and I can fund it for myself for right now.
And I love what you're doing, brother. People need, people need to hear your voice and hear other voices that are going through some struggle to maybe help them out of it.
And that's what we're here to talk about, man. That's what we're here to talk about. I asked you before we came on camera if this was cool to. You always talk about how fighting saved your life, right?
Absolutely.
And the exact words I used off camera were, "Are you cool with me talking about why it was that life needed saving?" Right?
Right, absolutely.
So, and what, more importantly, what it is that got you to that life that needed that saving. Right. So, obviously, anybody that's heard my story and stuff, in 2014 is when I had hit rock bottom after abusing my alcohol, abusing my medications the VA had me on, and then abusing cocaine. And it got to the point where I was separated from my wife for 2.5 years, and I wanted to end it all. And eventually turned my life around. And I understand now that what led me to that point were a lot of issues in my life, not necessarily what I experienced in combat, but everything that led me to process what I experienced in combat. I didn't know because I wasn't taught. I had been through so much trauma.
Right. It's life trauma. It's not just the war trauma and all that.
Correct, and I think the main thing I struggle, it hits me now because my dad left my life. And I say he left my life because this is when my parents got divorced and separated, was when I was about 11, 12. And that's the age my son's at right now. And I'm clueless on what it is to be a dad, right? At least the dad I wanted.
Right.
So I struggle with that now because I feel that's what got me into the problems that I got into. We're not having that proper male figure, right?
Absolutely.
And I've heard you talk about that.
Yeah, I never had a male role model in my life. I never had a father. Not, from the time I was born, my mom and my dad were already separated. I never had an uncle, cousin, anything. My whole family was in Cuba. I grew up with a single mom. And to me, my family were my friends, My mom is an amazing woman. She busted her ass to keep a roof over my head and clothes on my back. So she was working all the time. So I had a lot of free time as a kid to get myself into trouble and figure out new ways to get myself into trouble. I've always been a little scrappy kid. I was always a scrappy kid. I was always getting into trouble, fighting. I wouldn't consider myself a bully. I was never picking on people or looking, I was never going out there and picking fights.
You just weren't backing down from a fight.
I just wasn't backing down from a fight. I really loved it. And, it got me into a ton of trouble. I went to juvenile detention center as a kid. I got expelled from high school. I went to prison as a young man.
And let me ask you a question, because this is where I wanna elaborate on. In these moments where you go to juvenile and stuff like that, you start bumping into sometimes these male figures that are rough on you, rough on the edge. Coaches, in a way, right? The same way coaches are.
Right.
And do you feel, because the way I know you now, do you feel that you needed that in your life, right? Because I know you're so respectful that I could guarantee you got yourself in juvie, and then you're like, yes, sir. No, ma'am. You know,
I've always had it in me. I learned it, from my mom. She always, she taught me respect. Um, and I've always been respectful, even when I ran the streets, even when I was in gangs, even when I was in prison. When somebody with, not even just people with authority, but just anybody speaking to me, and when you come to me correctly and you just speak to me, whether you're even if we don't know each other, whether you're asking me something or just speaking to me, it was always yes sir and yes ma'am. Also, I signed up for the Coast Guard in the year 2000. I had signed for 4 years to go to the Coast Guard, so I got to the military, went through the boot camp. Uh, you know how boot camp is. It's like even if you do everything perfectly, you did it wrong. And they pick on you. But I went in there. I was 18 years old when I went to boot camp. I went in there knowing this game, and I went on a buddy program with a friend of mine because, like I said, I did what my friends did. I didn't have any male role model leading me right. So, a friend at that time told me, "Oh, there's a buddy program. Let's go in." It was the Coast Guard. I was like, "Man, you're doing it. I'm doing it." I didn't know what the hell I was getting myself into. But being there, I got picked on because I had tattoos on my hands, because I looked different from everybody else. And once I graduated from boot camp, as they were giving me my diploma, all the staff sergeants and all the drill sergeants were like, "Diaz, I knew you could do it. We fucked with you because we knew you could handle it, and you did it." And it was an amazing experience, and I picked up a lot of the respect on yes sir and no sir from there. And better than I do how the military lifestyle is. And I've always I lacked structure a lot as a young man. And the military, I kind of found that structure and organization, and I really loved it. But as life would have it, I signed up for a 4-year term. 11 months down the road, I get in a fight on the street, and I get an honorable discharge due to civil court judgment. So I'm back on the street. 11 months in, 19 years old now. I went from having a steady paycheck and a structured life to now it's back to figuring it out.
Fending on your own.
Yeah, I have I have a daughter that's 22 now, but back then she was, her mom was pregnant with the kid. I'm trying to figure this shit out, brother. You know what I mean? And I have no guy, no guide, and no male role model to tell me, "Yo, son, listen, you need to chill out here, and you need to, these guys that you're hanging around with are a piece of shit. They don't have your your best interest at heart."
You didn't have that clearly, because I mean, you would have had somebody tell you the day you got kicked out, "Hey, buddy, listen, look what you just gave up. Look what you just messed up," right? But then you didn't even have that. You didn't even have the process to even process that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you didn't have that, so you were just back on it.
Came right back to what I knew. Back to Miami, back to the streets, back to dealing a little bit of this and dealing a little bit of that, and trying to figure it out, trying to make a couple bucks. So now I got a kid on the way. And the girl I was having a kid with already had her own kid. So I'm raising somebody's kid, having a kid. I'm still a kid, so I'm trying to figure all this shit out. And brother, as life would have it, and it's how it goes. When you're in a hole and you don't know which way to go, you keep digging yourself deeper, and that's what I did for many years. Ended up going to prison at 23 years old for fighting on the street. Then I get to prison. I'm in a gang. I'm fighting.
Surviving.
I'm surviving, and I'm fighting in prison because that's what I love to do. That's what I want. I'm trying to make, very prideful. The ego's trying to make a name for himself, and it was just a world of shit, brother. Just a world of shit that I got myself into. Then when I get out, had a great opportunity. Childhood friend of mine that I don't even consider my friend. He's brother to me. He's a family, which is Pitbull.
Yeah.
He's in the beginning of his rise. This is 2006. He's making it towards where.
Yeah, 100%. So we both know him.
Yeah.
You know him way more. Your relationship is still stronger with him. But I remember 2005, 2006, I call him through the Nextel. I don't think it was Nextel because it wasn't working when I was in Hong Kong. But I had a SIM card though. I had a SIM card with like a prepaid card that I bought in Hong Kong where I would call people back at home. And man, I call home and I'm like, yo, I'm at a club in Hong Kong and they're playing culo.
Yeah.
And he was cracking up, because I was like, yo, you made it, dog.
No, it was amazing. So I get out May 6, 2006. That was a Friday. He calls me and tells me, hey, congratulations on being out. I'm out of town. I'll see you Monday. Picks me on Monday, takes me on a shopping spree to get me new clothes because, I was in prison for 2 years. I had nothing that fit me and nothing that was even up to date.
At the same time, he's had his struggles, right?
Of course.
He's been very open about it.
Yeah,
but
of course.
At this point, he's now tasted that other side, right?
What you talking about in 2006?
Yeah,
he's starting to taste a little bit of success.
So now he wants to clean you up in a way because you could still look rough around the edges, but man, you could clean up.
Absolutely.
You could,
and he knows my heart. You know what I mean? Because I could be acting some way out on the outer part, but he knows that inside I am truly a great friend, and I take that, the most serious is being a great father and a great friend, and. So he comes and he tells me, hey, look, I'll be home Monday. Takes me on a shopping spree, we get some clothes. Tells me, look, take all of May off. In June, you're on the road with me. So I tell people I went from prison to private jets, man, because in June of 2006, May I was in prison. In June, I was on a plane going to South Korea. I went to Belgium. I went to Milan, Italy. I went to Okinawa, Japan. Traveled the world, man. It was amazing. I was doing this for a few years with him. I was part of his security team. And I was getting paid to do something that I was doing for free my whole life anyway. So you're my friend and you're getting some shit. I got your back. And I'm not getting paid for this, So it was an amazing time. But again, he wasn't where he's at now. So we'd go out and do shows. To give you an example, I get paid $250 a day. We do from Thursday to Sunday, 4 days. I'll get $1,000. But then we might not do a show for another month. So I'm getting let's say I made $1,000 that month. I got two kids to feed.
Bills to pay,
I got bills to pay, and it's not working. So what I do, I started dabbling in the street again. About 2009, I hit a lick. For those who don't know that the slang is, I did a robbery on a grow house here in Miami, and we came up on $150,000. And again, I'm 20 something years old. You think that money's never gonna end, so. But me being...
And it's burning a hole in your pocket.
Right. And me being what I considered being a good friend, I wouldn't have a conversation with Pitt. And I told him, look, man, I love you. Thank you for everything you've been doing for me. But, I'm making a little money here on the street. And he was still trying to keep me away from it. He's like, man, look, bro, that's bullshit. I got you something for sure here. And still, me being the knucklehead I was, I went my own way. And... bumped my head some more, man. Bumped my head some more. Got, had many losses, had a couple wins, but at the end of the day, the wins don't count for shit because fast money goes even faster, And look, he kept. I always like to give this example, like when I go speak to kids in juvenile detention centers or when I do career day. I go, look, you have two guys, right? You got Pitbull and you got Yuli
Two
Monster.
tracks.
Yeah, 2 tracks. But these guys grew up together and they were side by side. One guy didn't listen to all the outside noise. He kept going and he stayed consistent. That's a huge word with my vocabulary. Stay consistent. Didn't give a fuck what anybody said about him. You're a white guy, you rap, you're blue eyes, you can't do this. She kept climbing. Me, I listened to the noise, bumped my head, tried my ego, my pride, everything. I got all this shit. Thank God, 2016, when I was 35 years old, I was able to turn it around, which is a very rare thing, but I knew inside of me always, even as a kid, all the way till I was 35 years old, I knew that I was doing wrong, and I knew that I could do better. Not that I was better than anybody, but that I was better than what I was doing at that moment. And at 35 years old, I was living in Denver, Colorado, again, part of the green rush, trying to make money the wrong way, and I had this epiphany, man. I had this come to God moment. I'm not a religious guy. I'm very spiritual, though, and I believe in God because that's what I grew up with, and I feel like, God and my mom's prayers has kept me alive and kept me where I'm at today. And that day, I came to my knees, man. I cried like a baby. I packed all my shit. I came back to Miami, and I was like, what the fuck? I don't want to sell drugs no more. I don't want nothing to do with fucking these people anymore. What can I do? Man, I've always wanted to fight. You know what I mean? I've been to a million boxing matches. I had a couple friends I fought. I fought amateur boxing when I was about 20 years old. So let me give this thing a try. I got in the gym just to train. This was November and December 2016. Fifth Street Gym, Miami Beach, Muhammad Ali's original gym. I was there. They took me in. That's still my home today. You know, it's amazing how it's become a family. So right before 2017, I tell my coach, "Hey man, I think I'm ready for a fight. I want to take a fight." I'm like, sure? Like, yeah. And you know, I could have stayed in amateurs, but I'm like, no, I want to try this professionally. About 2 days later, right before New Year's, he comes back. He's like, "Hey, there's a fight in Dominican Republic, January 27, 2017. I ain't gonna lie, bro. He told me that shit. I was like, fuck, am I ready for this, bro? You know, and shit. You know, again, my pride kind of got to me. Like, yeah, man, I'm ready. Let's do it. I went to Dominican Republic. I won by first round knockout.
Awesome.
And it was the biggest rush, biggest high, better than any drug I've ever done. It was the most amazing feeling. When I came back home, and and at that point, I hadn't posted shit on Instagram for a year because I was like, well, what am I posting? I can't be posting shit. I'm a street guy, you know what I mean? So my shit was full of memes up until that moment. Then I posted me with my hand raised and my boxing shorts and a ring. And I came back and everybody was so proud of me. And everybody's like, Yuli, man, God, this is like your calling, you know, like, damn, you always. And man, I always thought I had worked hard in my life, right? Running the streets. Finally, I found out what hard work is: consistency, staying in the gym, and doing, you know, the right thing.
Finally, you found out and you learned what discipline was.
Discipline. You're absolutely right.
Discipline.
Absolutely right. You know, I was a guy who always ran on motivation. I'd be motivated for a day or two. The third day, motivation would die out, and I'm back. And I found that discipline takes you a lot farther than motivation can.
So,
you need the motivation kind of to start you, but you need the discipline to keep you grounded.
I tell people when I do the same thing, when I speak and stuff like that, I tell people, motivation is a fragrance, is a cologne. Right. It just wears off. Right. It smells awesome. Right. When you spray it on, you're like, fuck, I'm going to fuck tonight. Yeah. You know, that's exactly,
I'm getting fucked. Yeah.
That's how you feel. You're like, bro, I smell so good. I might fuck myself. Like, it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but it fades away, bro. And sometimes by the end of the night, you're fucking crying, bro.
The discipline's that oily cologne that stays on forever.
Discipline, bro. You go out and you're like, you might not even have put cologne, bro. And you're like, doesn't matter, bro, because I'm going to have a good night tonight.
Exactly.
You know, like, and that's what you learn in fighting, right? Because fighting does something that, I mean, I hear some fighters sometimes talk about sexual abstinence.
Yeah.
You know, that they don't have sex for weeks before a fight or something like that. We're talking about from a guy that was getting rushes and highs, doing licks, you know, doing drugs, selling drugs, whatever. And then every once in a while, at a concert, some dude roughs you up, and you're like, "This is what I was waiting for," you know, like so. You went from all that to making weight.
Yeah.
You know, a diet, discipline. Where did you feel in that in the gym in Fifth Street and Fifth Ave? Where did you feel, speaking to a coach, where did you feel that it finally hit you that you controlled you can be taught discipline, you can be taught technique, routine, but you control that.
So this is what I remember it kicking in was like I said, November, December, January 2016. January, I had my first fight. I win. So now, you know, now I'm training hard. Now I fought February, I fought March, I fought April. My first 4 fights were a month back to back to back. And I loved it. And then I would let's say I'd missed the gym for like 2-3 days. My coach would call me and make me accountable. This is where that discipline, this is where that inner feeling came from. Hey, where you at? You okay? Is everything all right? Because they knew where I came from. They didn't want me to go back. They knew that this is where I needed to be to stay out of trouble and stay out of shit. So they made me accountable. So, and I've always had this thing in me where I like to be accountable to people. Like I'm a man of my word. So if I tell you,
I'm gonna vouch for that right now because we had this for tomorrow,
right?
Okay,
right.
But you got some surprise engagements that you got all of a sudden offered for tomorrow, and I understand these engagements, so I'm like, you're like, but can we do it tonight?
Right.
And I'm like, fuck, dude. I'm like, let's do it tonight.
And
that's how you are. You're a man of your word, and I can vouch for that.
Absolutely, and especially with you, brother. You know what I mean? I consider you family. I want to come through for you as much as possible, and like you always come through for me. So accountability came into my life where I'm like, you know, if I was missing, they wouldn't make me feel like like bad for not going, but I would feel bad inside, like, oh man, I'm letting these people down. I don't want to let anybody down, and I want to stick to my word. That was, that's all we have, our balls and our word. So that made me accountable. And man, what happens is just time starts passing, and then the more time that passes, you start doing good, you start leaving the bad behind, and that's what happened, man. I got so far into my career that just one day I was like, I don't talk to the same people anymore. That's a huge thing too, is getting out of that circle. I had to cut off a lot of great friends for a long time. I circled back with them once I had my head right, and I knew that I wasn't gonna do anything they asked me to do or anything, right? And I had to cut family off. I had to cut family off. That they love me, but they didn't want me to do anything bad. My family wasn't trying to make me do anything bad, but they were keeping me from going in the direction I wanted to go. Excuse me.
No. I just had an interview that I did on Monday, and I was talking about that. Sometimes you have to cut people off.
Absolutely.
Like there's people that are great people, but they have problems themselves that are bigger than the problems you want to deal with right now. And then sometimes you throw them that life preserver, but they pull the rope instead of allow you to pull them in. So you just got to cut it.
Somebody told me a long time ago, and it made sense to me. He goes, "I comes before you in the vocabulary, brother." You know what I mean? So in the alphabet. So, and they tell you in a plane, put your mask on before you put your help. Because if you don't put your mask on, you're dying. You're not gonna be able to help anybody.
Correct.
So I put my mask on. I got some deep breaths, man, and then now I'm at the point where I have my mask on. I'm breathing right, and I'm able to help everybody else out. And we've done many homeless feeds. I've been able to develop and use my platform for great things. But most importantly to me is, I told you I raised a stepson. I have a daughter that's older. They grew up with me. They went through all this shit. I have a son that's 10 years old that I changed my life when he was 3 is when I took that change and started. And I am his hero. I am a superhero in his eyes, and that more than anything gives me the fuel to keep this going. And not only that, I'm so far gone from that old lifestyle that I can never see myself turning around, and with God's help, I'm going to keep this going. Another thing is that fighting, besides saving my life, it gave me, I got the fastest knockout in combat sports history, which is...
I was there.
You were there. Which was an amazing moment, and because it's something that, as any person, whether you're a mechanic, whether you're a cook, or whether you're a fighter, you're like, man, now what am I going to leave behind as a legacy, as a name,
Well, we've talked about this when we're playing golf, because I've never said I coach you or anything, but I know that me and you talk a lot of wisdom,
absolutely.
like we just talk. And you knew that I used to coach with Jason Redmond and stuff like that. So I know for sure.
With Jason Redmond and Ray Cash. Shout out to those great gentlemen.
But I know for sure I've always talked to you about impact and legacy, because that's something that Jay instilled in me. And it's all about, you have the opportunity, right, of making multiple impacts. I think that could be a gazillion, right? Because you said I have the impact of the rug rat, the street baller, the knucklehead, whatever. But you were able to make another impact, right? And usually what ends up happening is the next impact is bigger, right? But you only, I think, have one chance to make a legacy, because that sticks around when you're gone.
Right.
And it's that memory of the impact that you left, right? So I think it's big that you're doing something that I do myself. I try to do myself. You take those prior impacts that you made, right? Instead of brushing them off, you say, look, this led me to where I'm at, but that was wrong. I learned from it, right? Do you feel that you learned that from fighting, by getting knocked down? Like by.
I think life in itself has been a fight for me for a long time. It's gotten a lot better in the last couple of years, thank God. But yeah, life was always a fight, and I have, obviously, if I could go back and do things better, I would, but I have no regrets. It made me the person I am today, and I use all that experience from the past to go when I go to career day to speak to kids, when I go to these detention centers to speak to kids, and I walk in and I'm with the guy that's in a suit and tie, and not to knock them or not to put anything down. You know,
Well, no, you're in the suit and tie too, but I know what you're saying.
yeah,
Your
but
knuckles
they
are
didn't have-
tatted.
right?
Your
No,
neck.
and they didn't have and they didn't come from the streets. They did everything the right way, like you're supposed to.
Yeah.
I didn't. I draw the attention for these kids, and I tell them I was where you're at. I was thinking the same shit you were thinking. I wanted to do the same thing you're thinking about doing, and I'm gonna tell you right now, don't do it. It's not worth it. It's all bullshit. And your friends that you think are your friends, wait 10 years, you're gonna see that these guys don't give a shit about you.
Nope.
You know what I mean? And you know, and we're just saying how life is crazy. Things happen in the blink of an eye, and you know, you wake up, you're happy as hell one day, you wake up the next day, and fucking your whole world collapses.
Even by
you know what I mean?
lunchtime, your world could
Right,
collapse.
right, right. And you know, I've had very close things happen to me like that, which you know a lot of, you know, and it's put a real perspective in my life of, you know, enjoy the moment, live in the moment, be a great father, be a man of your word, and be a great friend, man. And you know, God willing, it's a very long time from now, but when people are standing over me and I'm laying down in that casket, that's what I want to be said. First, he was a great father. Second, he was an amazing friend and man, stand-up
Human,
guy,
yeah.
you know, human.
Yuli, do you feel that it was what you were robbed of not having the father that you wanted, right? Do you see a little bit of yourself in Junior, in your kid, right, and in your kids? Because I know you what you've done, and then say this: I want to give them what I didn't have as a father, right?
Absolutely.
So-
Absolutely.
On that aspect, how can we motivate more fathers to think like that? To not, I'm not saying be a victim, but to not constantly be like, but I didn't have it, but I didn't have it. All right, cool, you didn't, but you know what you didn't have, right? So let's try to give to our kids, because bro, you see it, you say it. You go speak at juvenile detentions. You go speak for troubled children. All right. You feed homeless. You see what's on the street. There's kids on the streets, man.
Absolutely.
Teens, all right?
See it all the time.
I'm right now doing a juvenile delinquency class this semester, and the rise is horrible. Yeah. Clearly, there's a father problem, right? So how can we motivate fathers, man? What can you say to a guy out there that maybe needs a little fucking pep talk, right? What would you honestly just have a little right now, a little couple 5 minutes, man, a little talk, and be like, hey, you know what, man, let me give you some advice.
You know what? If I could, the thing about, you know, being a father, remember that there's also a mother on the other side of it too. So there has to be a relationship there. You know, if you don't have a relationship, you know, there's a weird dynamic when it comes to like.
I mean, it took a mother and a father to make the child. That's my.
Right.
At the end of the day,
Right.
it takes a family. Yes.
Right. But if you want to do good for your kid, you want your kid to have a bright future. What I would tell him was, it's just like, you know, man, fuck the noise. You know what I mean? Forget the victim mentality of like, no, she don't let me do this or this or that and the other, and just do what you're supposed to do. Don't deviate from your plan. Don't a lot of people these days, I feel like, play little I call them little ghetto games where they're trying to make the other parent jealous and this and that.
And they play
and playing with emotions, and really the only one that's being affected is the children. So if it's in you that you want to be a good father and you want to raise a good kid, just do what you're supposed to do. Whenever you have time with your kid, spend your time with your kid. Get off your phone. You know what I mean? Go to a park. Teach your kid some discipline. You know, teach your kid whenever you're with me, you wake up in the morning, you make your bed. You know, we do some exercise. We get our homework done at a time. We eat at a certain time, and that, you know, structure, something that I lacked.
Structure.
You know, that I always wanted and I lacked. You develop a structure where you're developing a young man or a young woman to carry this into the future, so they could, you know, be a good father, a good parent. You know, and so that, to me, that's the most important part, man. Develop a relationship with your kid. You know, be consistent with them. Pay attention to your kid. Listen to them. See what their needs are too. Because, you know, as parents, and it's happened to me too. Trust me, I'm not a perfect parent, but you know, you get caught up in. And you know, we're loud Latinos, dog. You know, and we come from parents that you know, we come from an old school background where oh, it's gotta be a certain way, and sometimes I get stuck in my own ways. I'm like, man, hold on, it doesn't work.
Oh
like
no,
that. Let
we
me-
got a new thing in our life.
Yeah.
The Bruce man. That I mean,
yeah,
dude.
He's been a blessing.
I mean, I get to spend a microscopic amount of time with him compared to you.
He's been
but
amazing.
just when I'm talking to him, the way that he's like, yeah, he's just so calm,
So calm.
that it rubs off on you.
So
and
he's
so you learn from him. You
very
work-
well spoken. He explains things better than anybody I've ever seen.
which is something that young Yuli
yeah,
wouldn't do. Wouldn't
Fact.
listen. Wouldn't care to listen to what an older man has to tell you, whether it's directly or just nonchalantly, like just talking to you. Like you just don't want to hear it, right? But you're so open to it right now.
no, absolutely. I'm especially with shout out to my father-in-law Bruce, man. He's an amazing person. He's you know what? I've been blessed. I met my wife 4 years ago. She's been an angel in my life, with me, with my family, with my kids. My in-laws have been amazing, and her father, is very successful in business, very smart in how to invest your money and what to do to have a secure future, and how to be a good father. He's an amazing father. He's been married 43 years. He has two amazing daughters, one of them which is my wife. He's raised amazing people. So how would I, if I have that at my advantage and at my disposal to ask questions, why wouldn't I? Be dumb for me not to. But you're right. Me as a young man, being a knucklehead, I shoo it away. But where I'm at now, I'm clear-headed and I'm able to think, and I use that to my advantage. And I say that in a good way, where I'm able to ask questions and
Brother, 'cause
and
I've
the things
seen
I
it.
never got as a kid.
I've seen it with the way that you've been with Lex, the way that you've been with so many other people. Man, I mean, me and you sometimes it goes back and forth. It'll be like I'm the more wisdomy person, but then sometimes it's you, and it's like, but that comes with knowledge where you're able to pass the torch and not constantly be like, nah, I'm the big dog always
No,
here.
I let go of the ego and the pride and all that a long time ago, and I opened my ears and I opened my heart, and I'm able to have these conversations, and there is no I'm smarter than you, or like, oh, you don't know nothing. No, I there's 3 L's: you look, you listen, you learn. There's nowhere in there to say talk. You know what I mean? So I use that to as much as possible.
I want to ask you this question right here. So I'm going to go through these little cards here. Some of them are fun and stuff like that, but they make these interviews fun because it'll show fun sides, but then we get to learn some things right now.
Perfect.
So this one's a fun one right here because I love asking athletes this and even service members and police officers, firefighters. Do you have any superstitions?
Do I have any super? You know what I do? I do have some superstitions. When and I got this from my last boxing coach. When I put on my boxing gloves or my boxing shoes, I always put the left one on first.
Always the left one
Why?
on first.
I have no idea, but I'm telling you, if I go to put my gloves and I see it's the right one, I'll drop it and put my left one on. What else? Don't step on a crack, you break your mama's back. No, but the one.
So that left one, interesting.
Yeah. That's the one that right now comes to mind. I'm
Even
I'm
like
sure
when
I
you
have
put on
another
your
one.
shorts, you put the left leg first, everything.
I do, and my coach always told me, like, because I'm right-handed, so my
Yeah.
jab is first. So he's like, oh, we put this one on first. When I wrap my hands before I fight, I wrap my left one
Yeah,
first.
interesting. And then when you go marching, when they say
left.
forward,
Yeah,
march,
yeah, it's
left is
left.
the
Yeah,
first
that's
step you
right.
take.
That's
So
right.
interesting.
Right.
So this one's a fun one right here. This was interesting because I've known you and I've known. I mean, I got to see an amazing brawl where, I mean, dude, your face took a beating.
Yeah, it did.
All right.
It did.
So
I fought a legend.
Yes, but what is the dumbest way you've been injured?
Dumbest way I've been injured, man. You know what? I was talking about that today. Dumbest way I've been injured is riding motorcycles, man. I had 2 bad crashes. The first one, I just got bad road rash all over my body. I was wrapped up like a mummy. My second one almost took my life, and it knocked me out. It was in the middle of the highway. I fractured my patella, which is my kneecap. I ruptured my bicep, and I was in the hospital for a week, and it was an eye-opening
Are you fighting during
experience.
these times?
No, I was
No,
on the
okay.
street. I was on the street at
All
this
right,
time. Yeah.
because I'm like, then
But
that's,
but during a fight too, I tore this muscle. But no, I remember I was talking about it today because I remember when I was on motorcycles, I was speed demon, 200 miles an hour. I was on a wheelie. I was one of those guys going between cars, all that crazy stuff. But I was never really into speed or not. Not even in high school. Like if I was in a car and you're driving fast, I'll tell you either slow down or let me out of the car. I always felt like my life was too cool, too awesome to be like, bro, that guy was so dope and he died in a car accident. That's like a sad
I get what you're
ending
saying,
to
man.
a life, to a cool life. So when I had that second motorcycle accident, it almost took my life. I was like, bro, I'm too cool for this shit, bro.
I have a Marine Corps friend that has a shirt that he wears. I see it Facebook every once in a while. It says "Die doing epic shit."
Yeah, exactly,
So
exactly. Do epic shit, bro. Don't be like other guy. He died in traffic, bro. Like, fuck.
So on that note, right? Because I've gotten to witness you, man, in the last. We're in 2023. Let's just go the last 3-4 years, because in the last 3-4 years, you've gotten to do a bunch of fun stuff, man. You've gotten to do some flag football,
Celebrity flag football, that's right. And I was the MVP.
All right, so
I did the Super Bowl commercial with Pitbull.
yeah, you've gotten to travel with Pitbull.
That's right.
You've gotten to be in, I think, what was that, 50 Cent? That was.
I was in Den of Thieves.
So you've done a bunch of things, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
what's left? What would you say is left on your bucket list that you wanna really go after, that like we wouldn't even expect?
Man, you know what? I've been thinking a lot about I'm 42 years old. I just signed a 3-fight deal with BYB.
We were gonna get to that.
Yeah. But I'm bringing it up for a reason.
Yeah.
So, my window of fighting, I feel great. I feel super healthy. I feel super on point. So, I don't like to say that this might be my last 3 fights. I don't know. I mean? I might get to my 3rd fight, won all 3 of them, fight for a championship. I don't know. I feel great. But I want to get into some type of like either physique, not bodybuilding, because I don't want to get like super, but I was thinking about a physique show just because I do weights 3 times a week. I'm at a bodybuilding gym. I see all these pictures and I feel like, man, I would like to. It takes a lot of discipline to do it. I
mean, you got your wife that could coach you.
Right. My wife was part of that circuit at a point in her life. And I think I want to try that. I want to try that. I definitely want to do a lot of traveling, man, and eating at different restaurants, which is the opposite of being a physique show. You know what I mean?
Good, because that was going to lead me to this next question. I mean, I know for sure who you're going to be sitting next to, Ash. But if you were knowing that you were going to be stuck on a 10-hour flight somewhere, all right, who would you want sitting next to you and why? And I mean,
you know what? I'd have to say, aside from my wife, aside from my friends like you,
no.
First one that came to mind was like my father-in-law, because he's great at conversation. It's always something that.
But I'm talking about like an opportunity, somebody like you that
Joe
would be like,
Rogan.
yo, you could sit.
I'd have
Joe
to say
Rogan.
Joe Rogan, man.
I was even gonna be like, yo, I'm talking about like Bruce Lee, Muhammad Ali, anybody. Like you could sit
that'd be
next
huge.
to anybody.
You know what? I'd have to say Mike Tyson or Joe Rogan.
Bro, you'd sit next to Mike Tyson on a plane. You didn't see what he did to that guy on a
But
plane.
I'm not gonna fuck with him. That guy fucked with him. I'm not doing that. Man, just
Joe
because
Rogan.
and Joe Rogan, you can talk to that guy about anything he knows already. I'm a huge fan of his. I've been to his comedy shows, and I just feel like I think a 10-hour conversation with him would be easy and flow. Another guy that I really like and I'm a fan of and I listen to all the time is Brendan Schaub. I feel like me and him could have a great conversation too.
For sure, I'll tell you what, man. For sure, a 10-hour flight with Joe Rogan, I can't even imagine, because I mean, his podcast.
That's like 3 or 4 podcasts.
That's like 3 or 4 of his podcasts, which means that there's going to be so many holes you're going to go down on.
Yeah, exactly. So many rabbit holes, brother, for sure.
It's not going to be
conspiracy
boring,
theories and all types of shit.
but facts and conspiracy theory. Because I mean, he'll give you what sounds like a conspiracy theory,
Right.
but then, boom, let me show you these.
So what I like about Joe too, which even listening to his podcast, I catch him kind of correcting me, even though he's talking to his guest. because they'll say something. I'm like, oh shit, I heard that too. And then he's a real fact checker. He's like, but wait,
That's
where'd
what
you
I'm
get that from?
saying.
He's like, no, I read it somewhere. No, but where'd you read it? I'm like, oh shit, wait. You know, what happened to me? I put myself like if I was getting interviewed, I'd be like, hey, you know what?
Because I understand what he's doing, and he just wants you to show him where you read it.
Right.
Dude, one thing I've learned these last 4 years in college,
And he doesn't want to be a spreader of bullshit. You know what I mean?
but one thing I've learned these last 4 years in college is that there's a lot of things that are written that are skewed into this point of view or whatnot. So, and listen, I want to read that too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I want to read the opposite point of view. I want to understand why they think like that sometimes.
I want to see
and
where
I want
you
to
got
see
this
it.
from. Right?
Correct. You know, so that one.
Who would you like to sit next to for 10 hours?
Man, you know what? It sounds crazy, dude, but I would say my father.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, and this goes to regret and you know how you say in life, I don't regret whatever, you know, but my dad did try reaching out to me. I'd say about 6 months before he passed away.
Oh shit.
He passed away when I was 20 years old. My parents got divorced when I was 11. And then about 15, I decided to cut him out of my life just because I was done with his games. I was done with being told, I'm going to pick you up on Friday, you and your sister on Friday, but then the tug of war, pulling the strings, playing the games. We're the fucking ping pong table. And him and the, you know, the husband and the father, the wife and the father are on each side and slamming on the table. We're the table, dude. So, you know, he would say, I'll pick you up, and then call Friday night drinking, which is the reason he got separated from my divorced from my mom. You were an alcoholic. Right. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's like, and then he'd pick us up sometimes and fight with his current wife, which is the reason why, you know, my parents were together. Alcoholic, and he used to be my mom. So it's like I at 15 said no more. For 5 years, I no lie, had nothing to do with my dad. Nothing to do with him. And he tried reaching out 6 months prior. He never knew I even signed up for the Marine Corps or anything. I know he would have been proud as fuck about that. But I would like to at least
open up that conversation.
Bro, it's crazy. I've been working for the last few years on a journal that I would like to turn into a book. And it's fucked up because it's more like I want to show him that I beat him. And that's literally what I wanted to name the book that I want to write. I Beat You, Dad. Because he died at 42. Next year I turn 42. And I think I've done so much more than what he's done, right? But it's because of him. So it's like, I want to know why it all, like, he left. He chose
why
to.
It can never be fixed.
Why it can never be fixed. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I want to tell him, thank you. Because of you, I'm who I am today as a father, as a mentor to people or whatever, and as an individual, you know? So I would have to say for 10 hours, and it might suck because we might throw hands too in that 10 hours.
well, you know, I've told you, and sorry to cut you.
Yeah, brother, no.
You know, just on the father topic, you know, I never grew up with my dad. He came into my life sporadically as I was growing up. Never showed too much interest, and whenever it was that I was around them and we had, you know, I'd always try to develop a relationship with him, even you know, as a grown man, and it just me and him were total opposites. You know what I mean? Total opposites. Now, do I get certain stuff from him? I of course, DNA is DNA. You know, I look like him a little bit. I definitely, you know, get certain characteristics from him, but you know, I look at it now, and you know, and this is coming from what you were just saying. Like, I'm through with his shit. You know, I'm through with the, and I don't want to say with his shit. I'm just, you know, I don't want to put up with something that I don't like anymore. And you know, and he does a lot of shit that we total polar opposites at, you know what I mean? And I feel like I've given enough chance where, God forbid, you know what I mean? I don't wish anything bad upon him, but you know, God forbid something happens. I feel like the thing about with you is you were a little kid. You never got that chance. You know what I mean? Me, I had that chance as a grown man, as a kid, as a grown man, and I saw it doesn't work. So I could put that to rest and be like, look, we tried, doesn't work. God bless you.
Which
wish
is
the
that
best
you
for
got closure. You were able to
Right,
get. You
right.
were able to close the door,
Right.
right? Like I never got to. Like I never got to at least do that 6 months prior, and then all right, cool.
Right.
So let's go down to that BYB, man.
Okay, let's do it.
Because when we first met, I remember it was pretty cool. You were my first guest on the show, and then I believe I brought you back with
Right.
Jared,
With Jared, that's right.
and that was your intro to something that really being a scrappy boy, you know what I'm saying, and it's fighting bare knuckle.
That's right.
You did approach and you did try MMA,
That's right.
which tested other skills other than boxing.
That's right.
But boxing was what ultimately
Boxing,
saved your life. You know what I'm
exactly.
saying?
Boxing
So
is my first love. For sure.
this is bare knuckle now, BYB, and you just signed a new deal.
That's right. I signed a 3-fight deal with them. Those guys are amazing. I'm 3-2 in bare knuckle. I fought for BKFC. That's where I have the fastest knockout at. We're trying to work out a deal with them. Not to go any further or throw anybody under the bus. It just didn't work out with them. BYB is an amazing organization. They're Miami guys.
That's what I was going to ask you, man. How do you feel about that imprint? Because then a few months after having you guys on the show, I had Dada.
That's right.
On my show too,
right.
talking about BYB,
That's my
talking
guy.
about first and foremost the cade, the triangle.
That's right.
I mean, this is a very
all.
interesting
It is set up there.
Set up to fight it, man.
That's
There is no retreating
No.
going on.
No, you retreat, you're in a corner. So no, it's amazing, man. What they've built, the company they built, and like I said, the business behind what you see in the ring. These are stand-up guys. They're men of their word, and
Guys like you that came from the street, man.
right, guys like me that came from the street that hold their word, and it's an amazing company. And now, when it comes to the ring, yeah, they have the triangle. It's a one-of-one thing, and I've tried. I fought everywhere. I just did a jiu-jitsu competition. I did ADCC, which is the biggest jiu-jitsu competition. I got a silver medal for masters. I got, I fought. I'm 2-1 in MMA. I'm 14-1 in boxing. I'm 3-2 in bare knuckle. Now I'm going with a new promotion, man. And like I said, I signed a 3-fight deal. I'm looking to fight for a title. If I
you're not wasting
not
time.
if, but when I win my first 2 fights, I'm looking to fight for a title on my 3rd fight, and I'll be 43 by then. So we'll see where it goes from there.
Same
but
thing, weight class, right? They do things
yeah,
in a weight class.
yeah, weight class. I'm fighting anybody from 185 to heavyweight can get it. So
Whoa! Hold on. Let's say that again into there.
anybody from 185 to heavyweight can get it. And I already made that announcement. That's on my Instagram. Anybody could go back and hear it. But I'm excited that I signed this 3-fight deal. I'm excited to fight from. My first fight is January 18th.
Here at home.
Here at home in Pembroke Pines at the Charles F. Dodge Center. And, man, I'm ready to put on a show, Ozzy. I'm ready.
Yuli, we're gonna go real quick because you spoke about it. I mean, you about legacy.
Yes.
All right. So when you die, what do you want to be remembered for, man? Who do you? And I know you said it, your father, and but let's be real. Like, there's gonna be a lot of people speaking, and what do you really want to be remembered for, man?
Well, I got to say it again because these are the 2 main things. I was a great father. I was a great friend. And I want to be remembered as one of the baddest motherfuckers to walk on this earth, brother. You know what I mean? That when they say Yuli Monster, man, he didn't back out from a fight. He fucking, whenever, win, lose, or draw, he was a stand-up guy. He never quit, never backed out, never backed down. And I'm a prime example of it's never too late, for everybody out there. That's another legacy that I like to leave that, when they do tell my stories, like, man, he started when he was 35 and his last fight was at 65, he never gave up, man. He never gave up. And I think I've passed that on to my son. I'm not going to get into too many details, but my son just went through a very rough thing. A 10-year-old kid has an amazing story to tell. And he didn't give up, he didn't give up. He pushed through and he got through, what he was going through. And
That's another guest. That's another guest I had on
I
my
would
show.
love for you to have him on.
No, I had him on Sirius
That's right, you
XM.
did. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. We had him on.
He had his birthday.
That's right.
Came out with his rap song for
That's
his
right.
birthday,
That's
man.
right.
I mean,
with a video, we got.
a
That's
video
right.
on
That's
the
right.
boat,
I still
bro,
have
with
the
my
video.
son and
that's right.
everything.
That's
They
right.
were wearing chains. And it was hilarious,
yeah,
dude.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So, you just said you want to be remembered as one of the baddest motherfuckers to walk the planet.
Yes, sir.
So, who the fuck would play you in a movie?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Who do you want? Who do you want to play you in a movie then?
I think like damn Gerard Butler or like a Russell Crowe when he was like in Gladiator. You know?
Damn.
Who, man?
Nah, the scene in 300, bro. The kick.
Yes. Pan con pata. Yeah, man. One of these, one of these Jason Statham dudes. You know
Like
what I mean?
that.
I need a bad motherfucker to play
Like
me
that.
for sure.
Got
for
it.
sure.
Got it. Yuli, one last thing, man, because
Yes, sir.
we're talking about post traumatic survival.
Yeah.
All right. What else are you doing, man? You doing from negative to positive?
I am the host for Negative to Positive. We're pre-recording a lot of it. It was Pitbull's podcast. I took over as the host. He put me in place as the host. Me and Ashley. Ashley's my co-host. We also have it's Negative to Positive. Just two segments. Me and Ashley host one, and Jenny Valdez, which was a Pitbull dancer, and she was a Heat dancer. Also, she hosts her own too. We're under the same umbrella, same family. That we're pre-recording those. That should be coming out in January. Talking about post-traumatic stress. I was never in war. I never seen the things that you've seen when it comes to war and casualties. But I have a lot of and I don't want to water down this word because it's very serious, and I have nothing but the utmost respect for people who have PTSD. But that also comes from living a street life. And,
Of course it does, man.
And
It's not just combat.
Exactly. It wasn't just. It's not just combat. It's the living a rough lifestyle and putting yourself in these dangerous.
Listen, bro. Survivor's guilt is not just I lost my war buddy. Survivor's guilt is knowing that knucklehead buddy died doing the same stupid shit I'm doing on the streets. All right, you still get the same effects in your body, man.
And still to this day, man, I get calls because I am detached from the streets when it comes to hanging out, slanging, and banging.
And the streets know that. Like that's
They
which
know
is
that.
what you said. You talked about that. You had to cut certain things out of
Right.
and people out of your life
Right.
until you were ready to bring them back because you controlled that environment now.
Exactly. No, and that's what I'm saying. So I no longer do anything with hanging, slanging, and banging, but I'm still connected to the streets. I still got great friends
you
out
still
there that I
here,
still.
man.
I don't want to say I preach to, but I give a word of concern to. Like, hey, man.
Well, and these are the same people that show up to the fights all the time.
That's
bro.
right. They show me love. They got nothing but love for me. And but every once in a while, I get a call like, "Hey, man, guess what happened? So and so's not here anymore, or so and so fucking is doing 10 years, 15 years of life in prison." And I get those calls all the time, man. And it's sad, and I do what I can when I can to try to help them out. But at the end of the day, you can do whatever you want to help somebody. If that person doesn't want to help themselves, you're never going to get it turned around. And that I learned from experience because I was in a bad place and I had my mom's a pastor the last 23 years. She prayed for me. I had all types of friends doing everything they can to try to get me out of my funk. And until I was ready to get out of the funk.
Let me tell you, bro. I've recently, and I've been dying to talk to you and your mom, mostly your mom off camera and stuff like that. But I've recently, I can't explain it, Yuli. It's been very weird, bro, because in 2014, when I begged to end it all, it was the same shit as you, man. I dropped to my knees. I was crying in the shower, bro.
Yeah.
I had just had one of the worst experiences doing coke. I had done a large amount of cocaine, bro, and I felt my heart was going to burst out of my chest, bro. I saw it. I could see my rib cages pumping, bro, and I was just not doing well, bro.
But God gave you another chance, brother.
But I begged to end that life, whatever. But I didn't have what I've been feeling recently. And something in my dreams and my feelings, I'm like, I wanted more. I want to know more, right? So I went and got a Bible. And I've been reading more into different Bible studies and stuff like that. And I've just been gravitated towards it, bro. That it's overpowering, right? it's incredible, dude. It's incredible the power he has, right? But ultimately, the strongest power I really do think is you, because you are the one that pushes yourself towards him, or you are the one that gets yourself from stop hanging out, right? It, how strong are you right now, dude? That and I know the answer to it, because like you said, there's things that you've been going through in the last year that
Life tests you, man.
life tests you, right? How strong do you feel you are right now mentally? That like I said, you, when you see your son, you are like, you still see a piece of you, and you're like, I'm protecting this. I'm protecting little Yuli. There's still a little Yuli in you somewhere, right?
Absolutely.
But that's only coming from like how strong you are mentally, right? What do you attribute that to, honestly, bro? Like deep rooted down inside, and for me, it's multiple. I don't want to just say one thing for me, right? But like deep down inside, what do you feel that is making you strong mentally right now?
Man, God. You know what I mean? Again, I don't want to, sound pushing a religion on anybody. I'm talking about me personally. I believe in God, man. And I've this year I've prayed more than I've ever prayed before. I go and I pray with my mom. We hold hands and pray before we dinner now. My faith in God and faith and trust in that He's leading us in the right direction has really, uplifted and grown exponentially, brother. And, I can't explain it to you either. Something has driven me closer to Him, and I now have conversations with Him, and anybody can say whatever they want. Makes me feel.
Oh.
It makes me feel great, and it makes me feel like stress, like a stress reliever. You know what I mean? When you're stressed out during the day and you just close your eyes for a second and just look down, and not even just don't even say, "Oh, please, God, this." No, just thank you. Thank you for today. Thank you for waking me up. Thank you for giving me another chance. Thank you for having the people around me that I love healthy, and really just being thankful and grateful for everything. Grateful for this opportunity right here. Grateful to have a friend like you. You know what I mean? And brother, that's what really like just keeps me happy, keeps me motivated, keeps me pushing. And again, man, life is things happen in a blink of an eye. So be happy, enjoy it, and make sure you tell the people you love that you love them. You know what I mean?
Man, that's an awesome way to end it right there, dude. I love the message, man. Thank you so much for coming on, Yuli. I appreciate it, bro. And I look forward to having you on, for years to come.
Thank you, my brother. For you, anything at any time, you let me know. And everybody out there watching, I appreciate you. You guys, I only have one social media. It's Yuli, ULY_monster on Instagram. You can reach out to me on DM. You guys want to talk? You got anything you're going through? If I can help out, you think I can help out, you could ask away, brother, and I'll answer the best I can. I appreciate everybody out there watching. And again, BYB, January 18th, Charles F. Dodge City Center in Pembroke Pines. I'll be knocking somebody's front teeth to the back row. If you catch them, we'll give you a prize. And man, Ozzy, thank you again for this opportunity, brother. It's amazing. And brother, I got nothing but the utmost respect and love for you and your family.
And the same for you, brother.
Thank you, brother.
I love you.
Thank you. I love you too.